Picture this. You just dropped your teenager off at school. It's early, traffic's moving, and your mind is already racing through your to-do list for the day. But as you pull away, you glance up into the rearview mirror, and for just a fraction of a second, you catch it. As your teen walks through those school doors, their shoulders totally slump. It's so quick you might actually think you imagined it, but it registers somewhere deep down. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a fascinating, honestly deeply moving guide on the hidden emotional life of teenagers, looking at some truly incredible recent insights on adolescent psychology.
So, let's dive right in. What exactly are those slumped shoulders saying? Because, fast forward to the end of the day, you pick them up, the car door's shut, and there's that heavy silence. You ask the question we all ask, how was school today? You want to bridge that gap. You want to know what happened after those shoulders slumped this morning. But instead of a story, instead of a real connection, you get the absolute bare minimum.
You get the classics. Good, normal, nothing happened. Frustratingly brief, right? And we usually accept these deflections because, well, maybe we don't know what else to ask, or we're a little afraid to pry, or we're just really hoping that good actually means good. But in this explainer, we're going to decode exactly why they use these broad generalizations instead of just telling us about their day.
To understand that silence, we've got to uncover the first hidden truth, the performance costume. Because school is far, far more emotionally taxing than most of us realize. We tend to think of it as, just a place to learn math and history. But for your teenager, it is a relentless, high-stakes performance stage.
Every single morning, when your kid walks through those doors, they're putting on a deeply crafted persona. It's the good-looking me, the capable me, the problem-free me. Take a teen who's quiet and reserved at home, but acts like the loud, energetic class clown all day, just to avoid being targeted or judged. They wear this costume to survive the intense social environment of high school, and wearing it all day is absolutely exhausting. But to them, taking it off feels incredibly dangerous.
That exhaustion, it comes from never-ending daily tests. And I'm not talking about biology exams. It's a constant social calculus. Every recess interaction, the subtle dynamics during lunch, the silent judgments in group work, that agonizing fear of being left out, or the sheer relief of being let in. It is a continuous, non-stop exam. So when they get in the car, they don't tell you about it, because talking about it means taking off that heavy costume right there in front of you. And the truth is, they just haven't reached the readiness to do that yet.
Which leads us directly to truth number 2, decoding I'm fine. We've really got to stop assuming that when a teenager says I'm fine, it means they're doing perfectly well. Spoiler alert, it rarely means that.
When you ask how their day was, your parental instinct is probably screaming, "Just tell me what's wrong. I want to help." But in that exact same split second, your teenager's running this rapid-fire internal calculation. They're thinking, if I tell them the truth, will they be sad? Are they going to call the school, try to talk to another parent, or will they actually just listen?
And because of that massive mental calculation, we land here. I'm fine is simply the safest, lowest risk answer available to them. It's not about actually being fine. It's about feeling obligated to seem okay. Your teen is carrying this incredibly heavy internal weight, and they give you a short answer just to avoid a complicated, highly vulnerable interaction that they simply don't have the energy for.
All right, let's turn to truth number 3. Now, this one reveals a paradox about teenage social lives that genuinely surprises most parents, and it totally shifts how we view their daily environment. The loneliest crowd. 30. That's the average number of classmates sitting around them all day long. They've got friends at recess, they've got peers right next to them at lunch, but physical proximity does not equal emotional connection.
It creates what the source material beautifully and kind of tragically calls the world's most crowded loneliness. Imagine a teen surrounded by friends, laughing at a crowded lunch table, yet feeling completely isolated because they can't admit they just failed a critical math test or had their heart broken. Despite being surrounded by people, chatting, even laughing, teenagers often feel deeply and profoundly misunderstood. Nobody in that room knows what they're truly feeling. And that feeling of nobody understands me pushes them to do two things at once. They cling desperately to the group to fit in, while simultaneously closing their inner selves off completely.
Underneath the casual laughs and the normal exterior, this is what's really going on. These vulnerable questions are just exhausting their hearts daily. Am I good enough? Am I loved? Do I belong? Since they can't find clear answers to these questions, they carefully mask them behind smiles. So when they say, "I'm fine" to you, they're hiding this very fragile layer. Exposing it means sharing their most defenseless, vulnerable state. Let's move to our final truth, decoding a mystery pretty much every parent has experienced. Truth number 4, Sunday night anticipatory anxiety. Have you ever noticed how your cheerful, relaxed teenager suddenly shifts moods during Sunday night dinner? They withdraw, they pick at their food, suddenly they want to go to bed early. You might just think, oh, they're just getting ready for the week, but guys, it is so much deeper than that.
This anticipatory anxiety triggers a relentless Sunday night simulation. Hours before Monday morning even begins, your teenager's brain is exhaustingly pre-simulating the social gauntlet. 12 hours before, their brain is already entering the school doors. 11 hours before, they're mentally walking the corridor. 10 hours before, they're entering the classroom. 9 hours before, they're calculating who sits where, who saw who, and what might happen today. Their mind is physically exhausted by things that haven't even happened yet.
And we really need to understand this. This isn't weakness. It's the heavy price of caring. When you see them moody on Sunday night, you ask what happened and they say nothing. It's because the weight they're feeling is from what is about to happen. That simulation is just as consuming as reality. It simply proves that your teen deeply, deeply cares about their social world.
So let's bring this narrative full circle back to where we started. Think back to those slumped shoulders in the rearview mirror. Now you know exactly what that was. It was a physical sign of a massive emotional load. It was a body bracing itself for the performance stage, the mental calculations, the exhausting, crowded loneliness. You saw it because your parental intuition was spot on. Here's a perspective shift that changes everything. I'm fine is not a closed door. It's a waiting room. When your teen gives you that short answer, they're not shutting you out completely. They're telling you, I'm not ready yet, but I know you're here. They're in a holding pattern. They're just waiting for the right moment, the right question, or honestly, just the right silence.
So how do we actually handle that waiting room? First, don't force the conversation. Pushing them to talk only makes them grip that costume tighter. Second, provide the right comfortable silence. Just be a safe, undemanding presence. And third, wait for them to be ready. If you can create a space without pressure, without an immediate need to fix everything, the truth of their day will naturally follow when they finally feel safe enough to take the costume off.
Which brings us to a profoundly beautiful realization. Sometimes, a teenager hiding their pain behind the words, I'm fine, isn't a sign of distrust. Often, it's the kindest lie they tell out of love. They calculate your reaction, and they decide to shoulder the burden themselves just to protect the parent they love from worry and stress. So, we've covered the performance costume, the crowded loneliness, and those exhausting Sunday night simulations. You now have a completely new empathetic toolkit to understand the hidden world of your teenager. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought. How will you hold space the next time your teen says, I'm fine? Think about it. The waiting room is open. Until next time, keep learning, keep observing, and keep holding that space.